Sharon Matranga, and I am a student at the University of Southern Mississippi. My major is interdisciplinary studies, and my field of discipline that I've chosen to study are criminal justice and psychology. And I am here today with Di Filhart, and she is the operator of the Starfish Café in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. I met Di after Hurricane Katrina, and she has really inspired me and kind of helped me and cheered me on through going to school. My research question is the effectiveness of community service versus monetary funds and incarceration for nonviolent juvenile offenders. And Di has the Starfish Café here, and I'm going to let her tell you about that. But she also came down with NUMA and City Corps after Katrina and has a lot of experience with volunteerism in teens. And that's kind of the crux of my project and my research project, is the positive impact that volunteerism has on teenagers. And so I'm going to let Di give you some first-hand experience about that and tell you about her experience with her Starfish Café and all the good that it's done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Di. Thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be here. So, after Katrina, a lot of adults came down and they went back home and they realized that their lives were changed, that these adults became aware of circumstances and situations and people that needed help in their own backyard. The result of that was they decided it would be really good for their kids to see that. So in the summer of 2006, we had a church in California that brought down a group of young teenagers, 13 to probably 17. They worked all week long and worked hard all week long. You remember those days,
yes,
right? Mucking out houses and everything. They slept in tents. They had porta potty bathrooms. They did everything that everybody that was living here at the time did. Really impacted them. Those kids went home and began to talk to the people in their church and say, we have people that are really needy in our own backyard. Why aren't we doing anything?
Right.
The result of that was the church began once a month to take 10% out of their offering plate, and they took care of the poor and the homeless and those that were needy in their own backyard, and continue to do that today.
How wonderful.
Right. And it really impacted those young teenagers to begin to see, one, how blessed their world was. Two, how blessed they were to have moms and dads that wanted to bring them to experience something like this and really challenge them. And three, that now that a lot of those young people are young adults now and in college, and actually one of them came down this summer and spent time with me this summer at Starfish, and realized again just what a difference his life has been and the opportunity he has to continue to make a difference going forward by giving and volunteering with people now that he's an adult. So I think it comes full circle. Here at Starfish, we take young adults ages 18 to 30. It's an experiential job training program. They learn restaurant skills, they learn culinary skills, they learn people skills, they learn financial skills, and most of all, they learn how to handle themselves in the world around them. The young adults that are here now are those same people that were 7, 10, 12, 15 when Katrina hit. So they had the experience of having lots of volunteers come and help them. And now they're learning that they can be those people of help in the community around them as well.
And when you take these young people in, because they're 18 to 30 years old,
Right.
and where do you get your people? Are there any criteria that they have to have?
No, they have to be 18 to 30.
Okay.
That's a criteria. Other than that, so the local sheriff will refer people that have been arrested, and those that he sees already are, deer in the headlights, like, whoa, I don't want to be in here for the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
Those kids. We have local churches that send people. Word of mouth, somebody graduates and gets a job and goes on, and somebody that they know, they say, oh, you got to do this. So it's an eclectic group. We take special needs kids as well. So it's a very eclectic group that then bring to the table a wide variety of experience that helps shape that whole training time for those kids.
Very good. Very good. Well, we were talking about the benefits of volunteerism, and Di was aware of the actual physical health benefits that you get from volunteerism. It lowers your heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, it also boosts your immune system. But children that volunteer, or young teens that volunteer approximately 1 hour a week, they are 50% less likely to become involved in drug and alcohol abuse, smoke cigarettes, they're more likely to graduate from high school and less likely to become pregnant. But the other thing that it does is it still instills a civic duty, which allows them to take on leadership roles. So they learn how to they learn skills, they can become a leader and start different things such as the Starfish Café. And this gives them skills like that. And they're also able to, they actually vote more, graduate from high school, then graduate from college, hopefully, if that's what their course is. But with my idea, and the reason why Di has been so helpful with this is that she has some knowledge in this area, helping with the guys with Starfish, and I'm sure there's some women too that you must help with Starfish. It's not just men. And my idea was to take children that would normally get into the juvenile justice system, maybe be incarcerated or put on probation, and form an alliance with the local merchants that would allow them to go to work for them for free. And the merchants would be able to instill in them or teach them things that they might not learn sitting at home or with an ankle bracelet on or incarcerated or paying a fine. They could learn job skills. Generally, it's going to be maybe somebody that has some knowledge and some information that they're not getting from their own community or their own household. So this is what I really was kind of hoping that, Di has been very helpful. But I'd like to know a little bit more about City Corp and the other positive impacts and things that you saw, because I know you said some of the children were 13 years old when they came down to help. That's really young to want to come down and help other people. And I know that there were plenty of girls that we saw on a regular basis after the storm.
Well, they came, and the interesting thing is they came and they kept coming back. So they came in 2006, they came in 2007, and by 2008, the same group of people had met a guy in Houston that had foster care homes, and through people meet people. Anyhow, they wanted to take that same group of young people, and we went to Houston that year, and we painted and worked, and we did work in Houston, and it took off from there. And the next year we went to Birmingham, and we were in Birmingham, Alabama. We did an amazing reconciliation event in the Civil Rights Park and washed feet and cross-cultural reconciliation. And now these kids are like 16 and 17, so they still even haven't graduated from high school yet.
Right.
And they're already thinking about issues that haven't been thought of, or people push back and don't want to confront. And these kids are like, no, like, we're all coming together. We're gonna do that. The next year, they went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and did the same thing in Pittsburgh. And the next year, we went to San Francisco. And then the following year, everybody came back to Bay St. Louis, right? And those that could, by then, kids were moving on or whatever. And they came back to Bay St. Louis. So it was full circle for them to be able to travel from city to city. And what they noticed were a lot of the same problems every place they went. And the issues of poverty, the issues of socioeconomic inequality, the issues of hunger, those issues stayed the same no matter where you went. You always came about this. So by volunteering and becoming aware of the issues, now a lot of the issues that they confronted here in 2006 were induced from the hurricane.
Correct.
But they were the same issues.
They were
homelessness. There was poverty. Those were the same issues, and what they found was whether they were related to a natural occurrence like a hurricane, or whether they were related to generational issues of poverty, or whether they were related to unemployment issues,
they're still there.
They're still there. And they're still the same, and one person can still make a difference. So I'd like to comment just briefly on your idea, because I love it. And I love it for a wide variety of reasons. But one of the reasons I really like it is because it becomes a mentoring program. It becomes an opportunity for people that are successful in business and running business to be able to mentor and give skills to these kids who may be first-time offenders or even maybe a repeat offender who still has the opportunity. They're under the age of 18, you can wipe your slate clean, right? And they begin to learn the value of a dollar, right? So if I have a fine of $700 and my parents are working off to try and help me pay off my fine, that's really different than realizing I have to work 100 hours at $7 an hour to pay off my fine. Because there's an awareness now of the value of the money, of how hard it takes your parents to work to pay that off. It should be you working to pay it off to begin with because you made the choice. So I think they learn and understand consequences and choices in the whole system. It's a fantastic idea, and I'd be in.
Well, thank you. And that's one of the things that they found by children, criminals or juvenile offenders that actually go, even adult offenders that wind up paying back their crime or their monetary fine through community service is so much more beneficial because they feel like, well, I have now become a part of the community because I've done something good for the community while paying back my fine, and I feel that way. I belong. I'm now okay, and I can hold my head up high. I've made my amends. I've done what I need to do, and so it's a whole different aspect. But the thing is that I find is very important is that we give these children the skills. I mean, so often you see them come in at 14 and they got in trouble, and then they come back in at 15 and they're back in at 16, and by now the judge is sick of seeing them. And nothing against the judge, but what have they given them at 14 so that they can ensure that they're probably not going to see them at 15? We've not given them any more skills. We've not said anything, hey Johnny, this is how you get through school, this is how you do this. We've just slapped the ankle bracelet on them or given them a fine, which their mom and dad usually pay, and they don't have any consequences for their actions. And this actually will give them consequences, and they get to feel that sense of community. And it's a shame because right now in these economic times, it's bad all over, and children, especially in low socioeconomic areas, they have parents that are working hard to put food on the table and pay the bills, and they may not see them. So they're generally unsupervised, and if they were to get in trouble and go into one of these programs, they would be supervised by people who are at work and able to supervise them at the same time, and it's kind of a win-win situation for everybody. So my hopes are that I can kind of get every community to see that we need a program similar to this for our youthful offenders so that we can make things better, because 10% of the American population right now is either incarcerated or under the supervision of the criminal justice system somewhere. And we're not going to lower that rate if we don't stop the kids from offending, and if we don't give them the life skills that they need to be successful. Get them graduated from high school. I mean, that's huge, right, in itself, to get them to graduate from high school. So
we have a lot of our student population in our first classes. Everybody had that applied for the program had graduated from high school, and just some of them trying to get traction, or they had a encounter with the law enforcement people and were kind of forced to try to find a different path. Increasingly, though, what you're finding is kids that are dropouts at a really young age. I think that more and more I'm so amazed by kids that are dropping out of school in 8th grade.
Wow.
I mean, it used to be 16. You can't get, you're not leaving it, right? You can't make me go to school after I'm 16. Yeah. And now you see, 8th graders that are dropping out of school. I mean, there's something that has to be done to help. When you drop out in 8th grade, you have missed, not only have you missed the education component, you've missed the development of social skills.
Yeah, that's huge.
And that was the reason that Starfish Café was set up for 18 to 30-year-olds, because the guys from the International Stress Prevention Center came and did resiliency training for 3 years here. And every time they came, they kept telling us, the kids that are going to have the biggest effect post-traumatic stress from Katrina are going to be the kids that were in the middle school and high school at the time of Katrina, because they lost the ability to develop socially, because There was no place to go to the movies together.
Right.
There was no place to hang out together. Everybody lived in a little FEMA can. And so social activities were pretty much non-existent for 5 years.
Yep.
5 years of the biggest time in your life that you learn social skills. So that's why we picked the kids that are 18 to 30.
Great, great. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.